Hello, 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 collective. Welcome back, my YouTube friends and family. How are y'all doing? So, we're gonna have a timeless message right now, very much so inspired by this retrograde, Mercury retrograde happening in Cancer at time of recording. July 2026 is what we're in. Um, now, I was guided and I was getting this channeled message kind of building over the last couple days, let alone today. Spirit was like, okay, let's really come to the table and record this for the collective, with the collective. Your pillars, your foundational pillars are what to be focusing upon right now, what to be returning to right now, what to be fortifying in this now. There's something about really focusing on your pillars, your foundation, your home base, as well as what I'm getting with the Cancer energy of this season is fortifying and securing your boundaries. There's something about like, I'm really seeing building fences around the gardens or around the farm. So a lot of y'all who have been rocking with me for the last like several weeks, several months really, let alone from Taurus season, we have continued to get more and more elaboration on this farming slash gardening metaphor when it comes to cultivating our crops, cultivating our seeds, cultivating our creative projects, passions, co-creations, ideas, inspirations, whatever we've essentially been guided to be consistent with and consistently invest in. Sometimes investing more in as capacity and or resources allow. What I'm getting with the farm is not to say that we by any means are unprotected, we're unsafe. It's none of that. I am getting the sense of having clear boundaries though around what your crops, what your passions, what your projects need, honoring them, and also like putting up some boundaries so that not everyone and everything can see, sense, touch, smell these crops, these things that you're cooking up. It's like basically like privacy as well. Like I'm getting fences, and for some of y'all, it's like this idea where maybe your fences or your delineations may have started like very simple, like a two, like a, what do you call it? Like a, not a log, but I'm just going to use a log example. It's like a log gap of space and then a log here kind of fence with the pillars or stakes in between. So there was that open space you can more or less see. It wasn't the beefiest fence. It wasn't the beefiest or strongest barrier, but it did something. Now some of y'all are getting more and more encouragement to have boundaries set up that honor more and more of your privacy. There's something where, depending on the environment in which you are cultivating your crops and building yourself up and out, people know or sense that you are essentially you're farming, you're gardening, you're on top of things, you are in this cultivation process. Like basically people know you have stuff growing, stuff succeeding, stuff coming up, okay? You have things going on. So we can't deny the fact that there's some layer and level where people know that you are doing something. You are working with the land, you're working with your materials, you are working on your projects. Basically, they know that you are applying some layer and level of consistent energy and focus in relation to a goal slash project slash co-creation. Now, with that being said, though, is some of it you were not that you were going out of your way to talk about your business and what you're cultivating. However, when that fence, was a little bit more open, like people could see a bit what you were doing, and you were cool with that visibility. In some ways, you were welcoming of it to kind of, depending on the environment you were in, to see how people, maybe support you, uplift you, maybe to help like bring in or call in encouragement. In select cases, maybe some of y'all were seeking, outside opinions, advice, or insight about what you're doing. Maybe some of y'all were seeking to share about it with some folks, letting them kind of see people who are close to you, right? Because if we're thinking about a farm or a garden, it's like neighbors, neighborly type of energies. Now, it may not just be literal neighbors. This could be family members, friends, or whatever, but people who are kind of like would be able to come around or at least see and sense your farm from a closer proximity, a closer distance. Now it's kind of like there's been some things going on with your environment, your garden, your farm, where it's not to say that you're shutting everyone and everything off or out. You have, you recognize though that what you're cultivating, what you're growing, it may be either triggering to other people, or they may just honestly be uninterested and not very energetically like supportive or aligned. Or maybe the people around you aren't really helping or empowering your focus, your ambition, your motivation, and your inspiration. And it's not to judge others, rather, you're recognizing like you want to, in this Cancer season, have these stronger boundaries and barriers of your attention, which I've been saying for the last several weeks. Thank you, Spirit, now that they bring it back up. And recognizing like your foundational pillars, your home environment, your local household requires your utmost like love, investment, protection, and there's something about like protecting what you're working on and having strong boundaries around like your household and your home space. And like something overlapping there. So they were giving me, before I press record, when I was taking a shower and getting more about this channeled message, I was getting vibes of both Hestia, or Vesta if we're going Roman, but Hestia going Greek, and Hephaestus Greek. So goddess of the hearth and that home flame, that home fireplace, if you will, the hearth. And then we have God of the forge here with Hephaestus. And I'm feeling this energy and calibration where, yes, does Hephaestus, I'm sure he has many forges or workshops, arguably, but I'm sure he has a main forge or a main workshop somewhere. I believe it's in a volcano, right? Yeah, as we know, many artists and many creatives, whether they're in their main home or if they're traveling and they're away for an extended period of time, sometimes they want to tinker. They want to work on or practice their art form, practice their craft somewhere in the home space or have that outlet, albeit sometimes it's a smaller workshop or studio than when you go and get like a big commercial space or what have you. Sometimes not, sometimes you could have both, but I'm feeling like more of like, basically I'm getting like home studio, home workshop vibes. Not saying it's any less like effective by any means. Yeah, I am feeling this idea of having your own private like home studio, home workshop where you're meant to honestly be tinkering away like with the outside world doesn't know what you're doing, doesn't know what's going on, like they're not in your business. It's even less public, it's less public, more private. It's this idea of, yes, you're working on some projects and creations. However, you don't even want people tracking your movements if you were going to the workplace or studio or whatever. It's like whatever you have in the main workshop, like the main business analogy, like the main forge, like we're just going to say the forge in the volcano. Like more or less people know what's going on like over there. They kind of see like what's your main gig and like what you're mainly known for, what you've mainly been working on. But there's something about either this side project or this offshoot or this like innovative project or what have you that you really want to keep more private or under wraps. Spirit is saying work on it in your home studio. And that's why Hestia is bringing in support, that goddess of the hearth, all this fire element, mind you. But it's like she has this hearth where it's like, building off the Cancer season vibe and invitation of making sure your home is being taken care of to keep you well fed, well nourished, like comfy and cozy, as at peace as possible for whatever you can control in your baseline home foundational environment. And I know we're not all in seasons where we can do that with ease, yet it's like with whatever you can do to increase that, lean into that. Whatever you can do to practice that, practice that. A little goes a long way, and the more and more you build that up and you kind of protect that sacred ritual, it will lead to greater blessings and compound interest. There's something about it too, though, where it's like this Hephaestus at the home forge energy. It's not that you have anything to be afraid of. It's more so Spirit doesn't want you as distractive, let alone negatively impacted by outside energies, outside thoughts, outside views, outside perspectives. There are times absolutely when feedback is incredibly beneficial, right? And we do exist in a social and interactive world, and it's important to let things be shared with the world and not let comments or potential comments or critiques or whatever hold us back for doing what we're called to do. Yet there is a time and place, there are aligned times, places, and spaces, I believe, where it is honestly, yeah, more aligned and more advantageous to share something, to launch something, to display something publicly, to release something in the world. You know, I don't believe that every single like draft, every single prototype that somebody is working on has to be put out there right away. Like, I do believe that we have boundaries and rights to privacy. I do. And I feel as though that's why Spirit is bringing up this energy. And that's why they're having like this home studio, work from home vibe, not allowing for like data leaks, information leaks, stuff like that, you know, like basically really keeping things under wraps. And it's not that you have anything to hide. It's not that you're shady or anything like that. It's more so that Spirit doesn't want outside influences delaying you further, other people's helpful advice and ideas holding you back, other people's feedback like delaying something that you are meant to absolutely like break through and bring into form by the time the season is done / early Leo season, like Lionsgate at the latest is what I'm getting in this now. Not limiting it to time, especially because this is a timeless reading, yet some of those dates might be very resonant or relevant with you at the time this message finds you. Now, also what I got, and I'm going to pull some cards, with these pillars, with this retrograde invitation, the channeled message is a lot of y'all are pulling together different pieces of projects, information, ideas, like things that you've recorded, drafts that you've already written, ideas you've already sketched out or fleshed out, whether in total or in part, however big, however small. There's something about where you are being invited in this retrograde season to essentially like pull together, like in the slowdown, there was something where there was a delay. For many of y'all who are resonating with this channeled message, a lot of delays that you have been receiving really this year, let alone the last several weeks or month, however you want to define this season or cycle you're in. There have been many delays and or denials that we're going to, or involving like other people, other businesses, other opportunities, other partnerships, other friendships, other collaborations, whatever it is, a lot of stuff involving other parties, other people, external agreements, connections, whatever have you, they either fell apart or ran into some significant friction, significant ruptures, significant disconnects, whatever it may be. And even though you were able to communicate, for a lot of y'all, it was like communicated through that, being able to forgive, make peace, there were still, at the end of the day, certain things didn't work out. Certain roles didn't pan out. Certain jobs didn't pan out. Certain opportunities didn't pan out. Certain relationships didn't pan out. And it doesn't mean you're harboring ill will, bad blood, or anything like that towards anyone. And we're not inherently assuming being on the receiving end of that either. Although listen to your discernment, you know, and honor the energy as it pops up for you. Like, don't sleep on nothing if it comes up for you, especially as I feel guided to like clean something off this card. Very interesting. Yeah, look at that. Even them trying to like distract from that message and like slow it down. Interesting. Either way, it's been like this year full of a lot of challenges and adversities that go beyond just yourself, that don't only involve you, even though you may be taking, you know, all of the accountability possible. A lot of this stuff happened so that you were consistently brought back to yourself and your faith, albeit in very rough and tough ways, so that you also, not that you isolate yourself and block yourself off from receiving help or asking for help. It's not like we were meant to go hyper independent and be toxic. However, we were circled back to our independence and basically to refamiliarize ourselves with and reconnect with, honestly, our talents, our skills, our innovation, our problem-solving abilities, our resilience, our perseverance, our needing to face the past and face our history, which also, as we embrace facing it, and lean into it, that also comes with reminding us of who we are and who we've been, reminding us of not only the worst parts of ourselves and or what we went through, but also the best, the skills that we gained from it, the talents that we gained from it, the growth and wisdom and experience that we gained from these things. It's like this retrograde season has you pulling together, like, essentially, and remembering the best parts of yourself, let alone things that you either sketched out, worked on, and basically reassembling it so that you can be a thriving boss level person, essentially, where you can benefit from and profit off of your own skills, your own blessings more directly. This message is going to really resonate a lot with like entrepreneurs and leaders in particular, not limiting to them or those fields or what have you, or like business or whatever. Yet what I am getting though, it's not, there's something about where you are on a foundational layer and level. It's not just knowing your worth, it's not just feeling your worth. You are making moves, setting up plans, developing ideas, crafting items, at the forge, working on things that has your full worth already in mind. Like, you're developing something where you're like, oh, I know how to work with valuable material. I know I'm a valuable, like, director and alchemist of material. I know my labor is worth it, let alone whatever the final product or service is going to be, and everything that goes before, during, and after that experience. I have worth and value, and I'm at the forge having that energy already in mind, that persona, that personality, that confidence, that self-image in mind, paired with the image of whatever it is, this passion or project that we are working on at the forge, that we're banging on the on the anvil with, you know what I'm saying, hammering away, shaping away, molding, sculpting, mending, bending, breaking away. There's something about like where you're working on your arts and your crafts, you're working on your products, you're working on your services, you're working on your business, you're working on your talent. Like you're working on something that will be shared, that will be put out there, whether that means it's sold, it's distributed, it's like in whatever way it could engage in some form of energetic exchange and interaction. And I felt like I got similar messages and words in recent weeks and channeled messages. And Spirit is saying, it's like, if you work on this core foundational, continue working on this core foundational part of yourself, pulling these pieces together, securing your business, securing your bag, securing your talent, securing your portfolio, securing this project in ways that really keep you as the primary driver, the primary leader. Your base interests are on lock. There's something about where having your core identity, your core projects, your core self, your core foundation on lock, it's going to really open up. Honestly, it's going to open up floodgates for greater prosperity and income or blessings to come through those mediums by them, like in and of themselves. Let alone baseline, you're going to have such a core, like foundational pillar, like locked in at this point, that is so truly you and in alignment with your anointment and your appointment and your divine gift and blessing, that as you allow yourself to start consider building up other side projects, things that may become additional pillars or parts of the foundation, you have your linchpin secure. You're no longer sacrificing yourself. You're no longer putting yourself last. You're no longer like working on yourself in the minute someone else's project or someone else's initiative comes along. You kick yourself in this project to second place or third place, automatically back-burnering yourself or your projects because this over here looks like it's going to have a more promising, an immediate reward, or it's like it is pay, or for some, like, and there were seasons where we needed to do that. This is not about judging where we've been or how we've acted in the past. This is not saying that how we interacted or did things in previous season was wrong. Please resist the temptation or whatever program is attempting to pop off, if any, in you right now, that's trying to say, okay, now that I'm shifting this way or feeling this way now, the past was automatically wrong. No, there were times and places in the season where the bills were real, The environment was real, the travel was real, the experience was real. All of it was coming together where it made sense and it was advantageous to make this other opportunity, this other external collaboration or connection, the primary, the number one priority. You know what I'm saying? The number one breadwinner while you were working on yourself, if and when possible, okay? We do go through those periods of time in our lives, especially if you're somebody who's consistently evolving, transforming, moving around, being very dynamic while trying to honestly heal your trauma, your pains and stuff in motion. Like you're literally trying to both rebuild your life and your stability and security, like functionally, like and physically, like baseline human needs, survival mode, let alone then trying to and allowing yourself to go beyond that and bring more soul into form, like manifesting your soul expression, your projects, your direction, like things that require honestly more energy and more capacity than just baseline survival. And baseline survival already can require a lot of capacity, you know what I'm saying? Let alone then we're trying to do something creative and generative when we may not even be like fully nurtured or nourished, you know, having the nutrients to even birth all the things that we feel inspired to birth. So yeah, let's hold grace for that. Let's hold space for that. What I'm getting at though is now things have ended, things fell through, things were denied, things were delayed that brought you back into this place where so many things with other external parties imploded, exploded, ended, disconnected, cut off, whatever it may be, so that you now were brought back into yourself truly and fully, brought back into your projects, brought back into your callings, your co-creations, your passions, whatever it may be, these crops, this garden, this farm that you've been cultivating, very much so yours. And throughout this whole year, this metaphor, this thing is consistently building up your garden, your farm, your boundaries, your borders, your protection. Earlier messages in recent weeks, we were getting stuff about like upcoming infrastructure and irrigation going on. Now it's like we've also got to make sure though that we're having up these boundaries and fences, because while yes, people can learn from us, be inspired by us, and we don't need to like gatekeep everything. We don't need to hide stuff. I do believe though that there are, I don't know, you know, call it my Scorpio and Venus. I believe we have a right to privacy. And I believe that there's certain like prayers that if they're very specific to us and our conversations with our ancestors, our divinity, we don't have to give everything out word for word. We also don't have to give out all of our secret sauce, our special sauce. How about we guide and shepherd and inspire people with how they can tap into their own secret sauce, how they can create their own secret sauce, how they can go about like, you know, manifesting, attracting, choosing and aligning their own secret sauce ingredients, right? Because we all have our own like flavor and recipes we're called to like create and make. Some things overlap, some things may be the same, but many things are very unique, or there is that unique signature even if we don't have the words to put into place, okay? Like we all may be making some kind of salad, but everybody's salad maybe is going to be a little bit different. Interesting metaphor, salad, but we'll take it. Okay, Spirit, thank you so much. So pillars, boundaries, security. Because honestly, y'all, you're going to be glad that you are, for those of y'all who are really putting in this time, like working on this project, being at the forge, keeping your, like essentially minding your own business and being an artist, focus on your own craft, your own calling, your own business, like, I'm getting the sense of like, this is going to be a hit. This is going to be a success. Like, this is a hit. This is a success. This is paying off. This is paying out. Like, this is leading to real coins, real purchases, real exchange of currency, whatever it may be. It's like what you're developing, what you're tinkering away at, what you're getting into place, what you're building up and building out in that core foundational layer and level. It is prosperous. It is begetting prosperity. Keep the faith and trust it. All right, Spirit, we're going to get some cards. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was like a full channeled message straight up without the cards. Diana with the focused intention. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target and you will make your mark. You can't make this up. Look at what I was just channeling and saying. And now the first card out is saying you're going to make your mark, i.e. it's going to be a hit. It's going to be a success. You're going to make it. I just saw 2424 on the timer. Please and thank you. Aina, leap of faith. Take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. You keep having, look, all of these two cards right off the bat, it's like saying 2442. You are going to be successful. You are successful. You're going to hit your mark. It's going to land. Bullseye. Working out. Take the leap of faith. Take the risk. Take the shot. Go for what you want. Go for what spirit is calling you to go for. Take the leap of faith. Take the risk. Especially for those of y'all who are these entrepreneurs or business leaders or whatever that's really resonating with this collective. Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. Now, I know a lot of the time we think about that phrase when it comes to conflict, but let's also talk about when it comes to growth, when it comes to reward. Like, if you don't start nothing, if you don't work on your projects, if you don't do nothing, ain't gonna be nothing. If you're not growing nothing, you ain't gonna get no growth, is essentially what's coming through. So it's like, I feel like a lot of this collective, you really have already taken a leap of faith / leaps of faith when it comes to this risk or this venture, what have you. Yet now I feel as though some things, you're getting closer to really, like, honestly solidifying this into form and launching it. And there's going to be some final things that you need to do, some final risks you need to take to get this launched out in the marketplace. So for some of y'all, that may mean honestly some final expenses, some purchases that you've got to make that will actually allow this thing to get published, publicized, advertised, marketed, launched, available for purchase and or consumption in some way, shape, or form. And it's like, you've been like trying to, balance everything out, not be reckless with your resources, reckless with expenses, basically not trying to be reckless with them coins and pentacles. You're not trying to be like, all scarcity, what do you call it? Scarcity Sammy or anything like that. Or Scarcity Scotty or whatever like that. But, I like that better. Scarcity Scotty. Yeah, at the same token, you're like, but, should I be doing this? You've been really like, thinking thrice about stuff. And Spirit is like, if this is in alignment with your key, like, intention, what you've been guided to continue working on, that's what's calling you, take that leap of faith. It's going to be rewarded. And you know what? Worst case scenario will eventually become best case scenario, because also, like, entrepreneurs and a lot of leaders, a lot of people who have quote unquote made it in life, reaching a certain layer and level of fulfillment and personal achievement, let alone like resources that allow them to have a healthier and arguably more enjoyable and thriving life. A lot of them talk about going through various forms of failure, defeat, delay, denial, what have you, and yet they still needed to, and having multiple times where they needed to forgive themselves and take another risk, believe in themselves again, okay? So either way, it's like you've been through this before. Worst case is you go through it again. However, I really feel like this is turning out to success, like what we're getting here. So it's like, go for it. It's going to pay off. And worst case scenario is you get wisdom, experience, and knowledge that takes you a step further to the aligned success and the aligned timeline that is for you. Everything move that you are making forward, every leap of faith that you have taken, every jump that you have made has all been progress, leaps and bounds forward in and towards the timeline that is aligned for you, the success and fulfillment that you have been calling in, that you have been working for and with. Trust in that. Trust in yourself. Trust in the universe. Trust in your guides. Trust in this energy. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And go for it. Because also, it's like, if you don't go for it, what are you going to do? Like, I feel like for some of y'all, you've been in these really tough moments, like, let's just own it, and with love, no judgment, and grace, where it's like in the darkest of moments, the heaviest of moments, you're like wondering like, wow, should I just like throw in the towel like entirely on like my creation, my projects, and go and just do something that's like more conventional, like follow the script, get like a regular, like, and this is not judging anything, but basically go and sign up for and work for someone or something that already exists, is already defined, doesn't hold space for your creativity, doesn't put you in a leadership position, doesn't allow you to really use your innovative ability, you know what I'm saying? Like, going for a position like that. And we do need those positions. We do need people to do that work. So we're not knocking that. However, with this collective, in this moment, in this now, if you are still with me and you've been resonating throughout this channel, you are someone who is feeling called to be creative, continue being co-creative, and continue working on and with something. You're not somebody who's called to that like just robotic thing I was just describing. All right, let's get some energy oracles and some tarot, because I don't feel like this has to be a long one today, but yeah, I do want to like let this be like full. Please and thank you, please and thank you, please and thank you, Holy Spirit, team and tribes. Can we get some confirmations? Ooh. Envy, boom. Indecision. See, this is what I'm saying, and I'm going to get another one in a minute. The envy. This is what I was channeling and talking about earlier. This is the energy that I feel like what was trying to slow you down, delay you, have you be double-minded, having you make you think, ooh, do I need to double back and do something that's like more conventional, more normal, where it's like, you know, the expectations don't require any or a lot of creativity of me, like none of that innovation? Or am I going to go in a direction, am I going to move forward and I'm going to go where my soul is calling me? Am I going to take like the less traveled path? Am I going to follow the great unknown? My personal great unknown? Or am I going to go with something that is a little bit more known, a little bit more predictable, albeit is not like truly resonate with the most unique, amazing, talented parts of my soul? And you were feeling that indecision, you were feeling that split right on the precipice of this leap of faith, doing your thing, because envy, evil eyes, confirmation burp, like basically looking ass people. Not all of them are haters, you know, and not all haters are like direct haters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be very loving and compassionate as we hold space for this card while we affirm our boundaries. Because throughout the last several days in various like platforms and media, like I'm talking cartoons, let alone hearing in other intuitives, let alone coming up in like basic conversations with other humans around me. So I'm talking in multiple formats, disconnected from each other. The concept of misery loves company, the theme and emotion of misery, the experience of being miserable has been like popping up so much in the last week and a half. Okay, so it's not just envy I'm getting, it's like envy that's coming from people who are miserable. Envy coming from people who are in misery, and misery wanting company, misery wanting other people here. It's people who are so busy constantly being a looking ass at other people's like prosperity, other people's prospects, other people's potential, other people's blessings. And they're sitting there rather than being inspired by it, rather than feeling invited to zhuzh up their own environment, to take some of that light and let the light in, let the light shine in, let themselves reconnect with the sun and with the blessings and the Holy Spirit. They're sitting there being jealous and envious. They're being a hater. They're feeling limited, and yet at the same token, they're feeling entitled and or wanting to be a hater. And some are just being a plain monitoring spirit as well. Just trying to clock what you're doing. Not liking you, not really wanting you to succeed, yet always wanting to be in the business, always wanting to be in the know. Where are you going? What are you having for dinner? What activity are you working on? These people who always have a comment for something. These people who always feel the need to have a judgment. These people who always feel the need to be talking about other people, and then even have the audacity to call other people the problem all the time. And yet you're wondering like, and then after a certain point, you're clocking a pattern. You'd be like, wait, but why is this the topic of conversation, or why is this the vibration like 98% of the time? Like, we're like, yes, other people absolutely can be problematic. We absolutely all have been in toxic environments and spaces where people have behaved toxically and gotten away with it. I'm not pretending there ain't no reasons for this person to be feeling blue and feeling gray and feeling miserable or anything like that. We are not invalidating their experiences at all. Yet, it's important that while you give and you send and extend and pray for grace and compassion, mercy, forgiveness, and deliverance for these parties, especially if these are people that you love and you care about or have some, you know, important connection or affiliation with, absolutely send that love their ways and honor your boundaries. 3333 on the timer. Honor your boundaries, though. Do not allow a crab in the barrel, a crab in the bucket to pull you down and hold you back, especially up in this crabby-ass Cancer season. Do not let the people who are crabby all the time hold you back, because in reality, they're crabby and they're mad because they're overstuffed for their shell. They're too big for their own shell because their energy wants to grow and wants to expand, but they're not allowing themselves to get beyond their comfort zone. They're not allowing themselves to make radical change. They're not allowing themselves to be radically liberated. So they consistently buck up against their own shell, like on their own ceiling that they are accepting, rather than allowing themselves to break free, be vulnerable for a bit, and secure another shell, or even stay in that shell while bucking up against it and trying to look for the next one. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is like, whereas with you, you're moving onward and upward, and you've had no shells, you've had broken shells, you've had hand-me-down shells, you've had times where you've bucked up against your shell, and then you've had times where you felt as small and shriveled as a shrimp. Okay, you've been through so many different iterations, and yet no matter what, you always find some way to, even if you're not fully beefed up or beefed out, you found a way, like the faith as small as a mustard seed, listening to that voice, like where even you got kicked out of one bucket, one barrel, one crabby community, one place or whatever, like flung aside, you followed the faith, you got the nourishment, you survived. And you built yourself back up. And yes, you may have some injuries. You have signs of the previous battles. You may not move as fast as you used to. You may not have the same flexibility or range of motion that you did before that accident or injury. Yet you are building yourself back up. You're still putting yourself back out there and moving forward. And some of y'all are really resonating with me with that last point, because I felt a wave of emotion with that. And it's not just my own. Spirit sees you. And so do these others. And there's been times now where you are part of, you're engaged now or a little bit closer with more communities, more spaces, more people, more crabs. And now you're trying to be about your business. And they see you moving onward and upwards. In reality, you're not in the same barrel, the same bucket as them. However, what happens is because you come around and there is a certain layer and level, or a meeting room, a common space in which y'all do meet. They bring all that lower vibrational energy, rah-rah misery with them and just want to talk all that. And then if they see what you're doing or they hear what you've got going on in there, they want to throw their commentary on that, put that energy out there. And that's why I'm like, you know what? In the beginning of this channel, we had the whole putting up the fences and the barriers, being more selective and private with our information. Because there are people that you've already given chances, opportunities to get to know you in a loving way, respect and honor you with healthy and loving curiosity, and things that you also extended to them, like trying to build the bridges, being kind, being patient, all that stuff. And now that you've clocked some patterns of behavior, you still send them love, you still wish them well. However, you're reclaiming your energy and focus, and you're not going above and beyond to invest in those relationships, to invest in those connections, because envy is dangerous, and you're not going to allow yourself to be played. You are not going to you're not going to be one of them people who's sitting there doing the whole, let me keep my enemies close and let me keep my enemies up underneath me. This collective, you're very much like, I honestly don't want that full-time job. I don't want to be doing that security detail. I'm going to be giving that to my ancestors. I'm going to be giving that to Holy Michael. I'm going to be giving that to God, Goddess, and Source. Let them handle that. Let them handle that person. I'm going to handle just some basic boundaries. I'll deal with them on an as-needed basis, need to know information basis. We're going to keep it cute. We're going to keep it key because we're community, we're connected, whatever it may be. But I'm not feeding the beast. I'm not feeding the behaviors. I'm not giving them any ammunition or anything to work with. What they see is what everyone else is going to see now. What they see will be what I am guided to make public. They are not going to be getting behind the scenes tea. They are not going to be getting the secret sauce inside tour and scoop, okay? They have shown that they don't appreciate the sacred alchemy. They have shown that they do not respect or appreciate that vulnerable, version of self. And until things change and until you're guided to do otherwise, because things can change. Things absolutely can get better. However, I'm talking about in this now, in this moment, in this season. If it's not gelling, it's not jiving, you're not wasting your time, space, and energy trying to force any fits and put anyone else's comfort above your own, let alone being around negative energy consistently and then playing pretend that it doesn't affect you and doesn't impact you, okay? Because if you're a very creative person, a very artistic person, a very intuitive person, guess what? 9 times out of 10, in some way, shape, or form, you're a very sensitive, sensorial, empathic, empathetic person. Choose any of those words that really resonate, but basically you feel and you feel deeply. You resonate and you can understand and overstand and clock things and read things and sense things. And so pretending that stuff doesn't affect you is toxic BS. Now, not everything affects you. Not everything has to affect you. We do get stronger shields, stronger protections. We build ourselves up. And some things really do get vaporized on impact or just melt away or don't even come close. Absolutely. Yet, we need to stop playing that when we do feel something or we do sense something, it's a problem automatically. No. It's okay to have that ability. Like, a lot of that is actually going on for our own discernment, and it's information and data that's worth taking into account. So let's stop acting brand new and playing ourselves with that and letting other people play us. No. If you are, like I said, one of these sensitive types of beings and persons, protect your energy, protect your boundaries, protect your space, especially with my fellow creatives, sensitives, and intuitives who really have been and are working on rebuilding up your like stability and your security and your life and your livelihood, like your health and your wealth. Like, not even like you want to say wealth and you're saying wealth because you're claiming the vibration. However, you ain't really feeling like all that wealthy all the time when it comes to the coins just yet. Like, being real, we're not blocking it, but let's stop being afraid of like naming the language of where we're at. I'm not into the whole like, oh, I can never say this, I can never put that energy out there because that means I'm blocking it and blah blah blah. Like, no, the ancestors and my guides know what the tea is. They know where I'm at. They know what moments we've been in. They know that if I'm in a day where the physical and chronic pain is on 11, it's on 11, and I don't need to like hide the fact that I'm saying like, hey, right now my pain's on 11. I don't believe like me saying, oh, my pain was on 11, that prevented me now from never having a day where the pain is at a 3. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? It has happened where I've had a day where I've talked about the pain being at 11, and then the next day the pain was a lot less. It didn't cancel it out. Not here for that fearful approach to like talking with the realness of the universe either. So pardon me. All right, let's do some tarot. Let's bring this down to earth. Let's seal this reading in. Let's seal these pillars in. Let's support this community. That energy oracle really had us going in about these boundaries, though, and really clocking people's energy. And I really would also like this collective, while I get this tarot out, to like be kind and gentle with yourself too, with the discomfort of kind of like clocking people's patterns and clocking them as they are and choosing to want boundaries or space. Because I know right now I say it very passionately, very clearly, very directly, very bluntly, because that's how spirit is, you know, flowing through me in this now. And we want to make this message as accessible and easy to understand and understand and overstand as possible. Yet I know in practice it's not always that easy. I know what it's like for me, where I wrestle with like, ooh, but what about this? Like wanting to see the best in people and actually seeing the best in people and actually legitimately having compassion and understanding for the circumstances, for the events, for the actions, for the history that even got them to this point of behavior, for putting out the vibe that they're putting out, for existing in the vibration that they're existing in, like holding space for all of that, and yet still needing to give myself grace and accept the fact that I don't want that close to me. I don't want that around me all the time. I don't want to be around them and let that energy, that spirit, that vibration jump onto me. I don't want to catch that contagion. I don't want to take on that toxicity. And you're not doing it to be rude. You're not doing it to be unkind. You're just acknowledging like this is incompatible with your intentions. This is incompatible with your intended nervous system experience. This is incompatible with how you intend to experience life. Look at that, 10 of Wands, dropping the barriers, dropping the burdens. Dropping the burdens on your own path, not carrying other people's stuff, not doing too much, not letting people overload you. Blocking you from your own blessings and destination. Let me get some more tarot. Okay, some more big shuffles. This is a 10 of Wands, by the way. Like, that destination is in sight. That homecoming is in sight. And I think also I'm being reminded, this is why Spirit is saying, it's like some of y'all, it's like also why it's like going back to that message about like the home forge versus like the away forge, the work studio versus the home studio. It's like sometimes this is why we're also not going as back and forth and risking getting caught up on the path, because sometimes it's like when we're making moves or doing stuff, people want to then like pile on. They want to give you something extra to do. They want to throw something your way. It's like, you know, those people, it's like where if you're around them or if you come around often, they always have something for you to do. They always want you to be like taking on a responsibility. They always want you to be doing a task. And on the one hand, you love to be helpful. You do like to support. And yet on the other hand, though, it's kind of annoying that like you feel every time you're around that person, that relationship only gives you labor, only gives you charges, only gives you tasks, only gives you things to do. Like it's always something that's requiring like heavier effort on your part. And that's exhausting. Like for example, like not trying to be shady, but one thing, oh, yep, and then we got the death card coming out, and that was showing itself when it was shuffling, cutting the deck. Death to those situations and those burdens is like, for example, sometimes Spirit is always protecting my energy, but there's been times where I'm not on social media or the apps all the time. A lot of times it's like I go on, I do what I'm guided to do, show up and serve, and then I need to take my time to literally recharge my devices, let alone myself. So I catch other people's content, particularly lives, as I literally have time and energy and space. And, you know, there's been some times where like I don't even go on certain lives that often anymore because it was like, I'm there one time and like immediately they're wanting me to like more or less manage their chats and be doing the most, like, and be like basically doing a lot of engagement and interaction. Meanwhile, I'm saying like, okay, I'm doing some. I also was transparent and be like, well, I'm trying to eat some dinner. I'm trying to cook right now. I'm trying to like listen, support that way. I'm going to share. I'm going to tap in between as I can. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't necessarily need to be doing the most right now, like being an unpaid facilitator when like we don't even have a strong relationship yet. Like we don't even really know each other, let alone know each other like that. And I'm here to support and uplift. But it's like, can we be a little bit more careful with that energy exchange? Like, why is it that just because you like my energy, you like the way I present, you know I can hold space based off whatever you're clocking about me, now I'm just supposed to be like offering and doing all of that and the most for you just because of your like of me and or your recognition of my abilities? No. A lot of y'all are being, it's about having these boundaries and being like, yes, you want to be generous, you want to be helpful. At the same token, though, there is practicing discernment and not being taken advantage of, not building up other people's dreams, priorities, and things above your own, especially if you are rebuilding your own capacity, your own energy. If you don't have all the other energy to be taking on leadership or doing the most for other people's tasks or what have you, so be it. Let them be upset. Let them be pressed. This is your season and your moment where you are meant to be focused on your own intentions, your own pillars, get into those pillars and columns, even in the card. Like, that's what you're meant to be building up. And whatever you do with and for others truly deserves and needs to come from the surplus and the overflow, if any. And if anything, a lot of y'all are being guided to give your own overflow even more into your own self and like allow yourself to really make the most out of this season, being in the home forge, being at home on a rainy day, slaying on what you're guided to like bring into form. So the death card that popped out with that 10 of Wands is really to those burdens, those situations, those connections at the very least, to not having the boundaries that you require so that you can be really moving forward and living this like this more successful season that is here for you, like success where you really are the leader in the driver's seat, the boss seat. 4 of Swords. Okay, I'm getting rest. I'm getting integration. I want to get one more. Please and thank you, Holy Spirit, team and tribes. 4 of Swords, rest, integration. Make it plain, make it clear. Thank you. Here it is. Oh my God, this card was, I'm going to take this one. Because otherwise we're going to have a whole bunch. We just need the one. The 4 of Wands. This card popped out before I started doing the reading on camera. I shuffled it back in. This is the one that was reminding me, though, affirming and confirming that the message was about the pillars. And that's why I'm taking it as like more or less the ending card. It's like if you put to rest those things that no longer serve you, not carrying other people's burdens, energy, not letting other people delay and slow you down, giving them time and space to impact, you move forward on your own path. And especially as long as you give time and space with that capacity. Like, remember, I said it's the home studio. So that does mean you likely may be doing a bit more resting. Yet when you are in the studio, it's going to be more and more like, I want to say, productive bursts. More like where, so maybe when you go to the work studio, typically you're away conventional 6 to 8 hours, whereas at the home studio, maybe you're putting in 2 to 4 hours and then getting a bit more rest, a little bit more restoration. Yet it's like those 2 to 4 hours in the home studio are having these very like I want to say like anointed and aligned and supported boosts of creativity and progress, because your ancestors and your spirit guides, who are also stronger in your home space or environment, are like all like supercharging what you're doing and allowing you to actually achieve things much faster, because you're not distracted by other literal distractions, as well as you're not distracted by other people's energies, as well as because other people they're not able to penetrate like your home environment and your home shields as easily, if at all. Not to say that they can break your work studio ones either, especially those of y'all who do a lot of protection stuff. But if you feel and you're resonating with what I'm channeling, this is likely for you. And it's like by basically taking this time to also rest and stay synced up with your spirit, your pillars, it's all like, this is affirmation, confirmation of the success, the growth, the stability, the security, and being in a happy home, a happy and healthy home environment, one that's thriving, one that's very well supported. And I'm also getting, like I was channeling during that message at one point, it's like with your most like local household, like wherever you live, wherever you sleep, I do sense that some of y'all, particularly if you allow yourself to really engage in compassionate and considerate, honest, vulnerable communication this season with the people in your local environment about how you're feeling, what you're needing, what you're working on, what your capacity is, like with what you feel guided to share, and then, vice versa, hold space for them to do that. I find that this is a really good time to make sure that y'all are resyncing and being on the same page about like the life and lifestyle y'all want, the life and lifestyle you'll want in that home space and that household dynamic, that household situation, and doing what it takes to really protect the energy there. And because that's also going to allow you to feel like obviously better and more comfortable, more at ease. Yet also I'm feeling that this is going to allow for even greater support with each other's like manifestations, with each other's blessings and miracles coming through. There's something about also this will allow each other to support when it comes to those senses, let alone realities of stability and security, and knowing that we are not alone, knowing that we do have community we are guided to trust. We do have people that we are guided to share with. In the midst of all the warnings, all the message, all of the discernment about the people to not trust, or to trust less, or to disconnect from more, or to have more boundaries with, or to spend less time around, to give less space time, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, things of that nature. All right, collective? So let me know how this message is resonating with y'all, this like Mercury retrograde / Cancer season inspired message. Let me know which part really connected with you. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you want a personal, like more specific message, my contact information is down in the description box down below. As always, reach out to me. I'm available for booked readings, whether you want a live reading or I'm going to be doing the recorded like audio readings, offering that as well. So just get in touch down below and make sure you like and follow if you aren't already. And I thank you so much for being here. Once again, my name is Dil Divine, your friendly neighborhood queer muse, oracle, and soul guide. And I'll see y'all soon. And make sure you're following me on TikTok too if you want to join in for TikTok Live. All right, sending y'all love, collective.